Hey, what is up guys? How's it going? This is Furgie here, back from A Squad Gaming, and today I am happy to bring to you all our 100% beginner's guide for the brand new title Far Cry Primal. Now in this game there are several different twists on the Far Cry series, and our ultimate goal for the guide is to introduce you all to these newer concepts and try to keep you from getting confused, because there are many different ways to get yourself lost or killed in this game, but that's kind of the point. It's all based around exploration. It's based around exploring this new world of Oros and using these new abilities, weapons, and beasts to get you out of this mess that you've found yourself in. So let's jump right into this here and talk a little bit about what Far Cry Primal is all about. Now, the most major change in this game, as opposed to some of the more previous titles, is that Far Cry Primal is based in the year 10,000 BC, which we'll very obviously see here throughout this entire video. Now, despite the fact that this is 10,000 BC, there are many different ways to play this game, many different types of weapons, unlockables, craftables. Obviously, some of them might not be the most realistic ideas, but they are all very cool and based around the time frame that we're playing in. Now, this game leaves us in the world of Oros, and this is I guess it's supposed to be based in Central Europe back in the year 10,000 BC, obviously, and we are playing as a member of the Wenja tribe named Takar. Now, the Wenja tribe has been wiped out of their homeland named Oros and scattered around the rest of the world by an evil tribe whose ultimate goal is to wipe out the Wenja and erase them from the land of Oros and all the other surrounding areas. Now, we start off the game with another tribe of Wenja, and unfortunately, after most of them meet their demise, we find ourselves on our own out in the wilderness, but thankfully we run back into Oros pretty soon and are able to start our adventure. And that's really what the main story is based around, is recreating the Wenja tribe, getting them all back together, and becoming the leader of this brand new tribe. By finding more Wenja across the land of Oros, recruiting them, regrowing your village, and eventually wiping out the enemy threat across the land of Oros. This is the basic generic plan idea of this game, and it really goes in a lot more depth, as we'll see here later on. And really one of the coolest things about this game is the in-depthness of the entire Wenja tribe and how we can interact with them and recruit them into our village. Now, as you can see here, my Wenja village is actually a decent size. You can actually check in the interface how big your village is, what your population is. And you can actually gain or lose more people depending on if you lose someone out in the wild, if you accidentally kill one of them, which I have done, or if you find more out in the wild based on exploration or recruiting more of them in specific missions, saving them from evil doers and animals and things like that. There's many different ways to recruit other Wenja to your tribe, and the more you have, the more unlocks you can have in the village, the more you can upgrade huts, the more you will receive in your special stash in your cave, which we will talk about a little bit later. But recruiting other Wenja to your tribe has a lot of different benefits, and they will also all rest at the different kind of resting points you unlock throughout the land of Oros. They won't all just be back in the village. They will be all over the world, so you can use them to your advantage, and they'll be ready to protect you in many different situations. Like I said, there are also other camps to capture and defeat to get rid of the enemy threat inside, and once you do this, you can unlock them as an outpost and fast travel throughout the land of Oros. Also, your Wenja can stay here over the night and can help you out later on. There are also more rare select Wenja across the land of Oros that are already there. Most of them are on their own for some reason and they're surviving. But what they're going to do is, after you manage to recruit them to your village and do a couple quests for them, you're going to be able to unlock a specific hut for them. And these huts are going to allow them to live in your village, but they're also going to unlock special kinds of quests for you, special skills, special things you can craft, and many different types of weapons and things like that. So it's really important to recruit all these people to your village, unlock all the secrets they hold, and upgrade their huts in order to earn more XP and level up, etc. And when we jump into the land of Oros, things are going to be fairly confusing at first. Not a lot is explained to you. Of course, different kinds of button schemes and more minimal things like that are explained, but really the game leaves a lot of things open to your exploration, which I think is a very good thing. So we're going to attempt to not ruin a lot of that for you, but still give you a nice little introduction and show you what things are about. Now, the enemy tribe I'm speaking of is called the Udam, and they're going to be all over the place all throughout Oros as soon as you enter. However, the more you manage to push them out of the map, the more Wenja you recruit, and the more outposts you capture, you're going to really erase the Udam from the map and eventually push them back to their home base. So that's really the ultimate goal, is to expand the size of the Wenja and decrease the size of the Udam across Oros. So like I said, there are many different ways to do this, and the number one way is recruiting as many Wenja as we can, killing as many Udam as we can, and moving our way across the gigantic map of Oros back, pushing them into their home base. Now, the weapons in Far Cry Primal, as you would not expect, are actually very unique, diverse, and you can use them in a lot of different ways. Now, obviously, there's no guns, firearms, any kinds of things like that in Far Cry Primal. However, there are all different kinds of clubs, different things we can fire, different things we can throw, different kinds of traps, and many different things like that we can use all across the land. So the first weapon we're going to start out with is the bow, and it's what we're going to find primarily right when we start. It's going to be one of, in my opinion, our most useful weapons. It takes 2 shots to kill and 1 to the head on most enemies, if you're not counting some gigantic animals and things like that. We also have 3 different types of clubs, which you can unlock throughout as you play through the game. One of them is a big 2-hander, which will do a lot of damage and is just slower, and one of them is a single little hander club, which is quicker but does less damage. We also have a couple different kinds of spears, all which we can level up, as well as several other throwing objects and little traps and baits and things like that. There are also many different kinds of tools that we can unlock based on finding more secret Wenja throughout the land of Oros. And these are going to make mobility a lot easier, make us less susceptible to death, and many different things like that. Now, if we hold LB, we can look at our weapon wheel here and see all of the different weapons we have at our disposal. If you have more than one type under a specific section, you can also use left and right on the D-pad to pick that specific kind of weapon. We can also see our bait and our bomb bags, which I'll talk about in a little bit, which are, the bomb bags are kind of self-explanatory. They're used to detonate and things like that. And the bait I will get here in a little bit. But really, all these weapons are very diverse. They're all useful in many different situations. You have to craft ammo for a lot of them, but later on we can increase how much ammo we get when we craft. Some of them are better up close, obviously some of them are better at a range, but all of them are useful. I have yet to find a weapon that's really not useful in any way. All of them have their purpose, and that's why I would suggest crafting all of them and using them to the best of their ability. Now, crafting in Far Cry Primal is as you would expect. Now, the basic idea of crafting is finding materials throughout the world and unlocking them through quests, etc., and that's going to allow us to upgrade and craft new gear, huts, different things like that. So the first way we can do this is by simply running around in the wild and finding different collectibles, wood, plants, things like that. Another way is by hunting and killing animals in the wild and then skinning them for their skins or their meat and things like that. You can also click R or the right stick to use your hunter vision, and this will allow you to see the trails of different animals. It will highlight them in the dark, and it's very useful when you're tracking, especially if it takes multiple shots or throws or whatever you're using to kill a specific beast you're hunting. This buck here that I show in this clip actually took quite a while to kill, so I had to chase it for quite a bit, but eventually you bring it down and you can skin it for its rare skin, most of which can be used for upgrading huts back at the village. Now, back at the village, like I said, we do have a secret stash. Now, the more Wenja we have in our tribe, the more materials will be coming to this stash daily, and this is daily based on the game, which are, I haven't timed them, but they're probably about half an hour to an hour long each. The nights are shorter than the days. So different resources are going to come in here, and most of which will not be rare at first, but the more Wenja you collect in your tribe, the more rare resources you will unlock here. Most of them are based around food or regular crafting materials, maybe weapons and ammo and things like that. Other times you can get a rare animal skin, which is very helpful, but ultimately the best way to find different materials is by exploring the land of Oros, finding these skins, finding these materials, and ultimately being able to craft and upgrade all of your weapons, which we will talk about here in just a moment. Now, in the select home interface, we can go to our pack and see all of the different materials we've collected throughout the world. Like I said, some of them are going to be less important, some of them are going to just be ammunition or different things for lighting our weapons on fire, etc. Some of them are going to be plants, many of them are going to be based around upgrading huts in the village, and the last category are all of our different animal skins, some of which can be very difficult to find. The rarer objects are marked with a yellow star, but all these materials are what we're going to base our crafting and upgrading around. If we go over a couple tabs of the crafting area, we can see all of our different kinds of weapons, traps, bags, quivers, things like that. Many different kinds of recipes we can unlock by finding the other secret Wenja throughout the land of Oros. This will also unlock special skills, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. Now, if we can see all of these different items, each of them has upgrade levels. This will either increase the damage if it's a weapon, the carrying capacity if it's a bag or something like that, or other special weapons or objects can have different kinds of upgrades. But you need special kinds of resources to upgrade all of this gear, and it will become increasingly more difficult to find these as you upgrade their levels. However, it will become very much more worth it as you move throughout the ranks. Now, materials, like I said earlier, can also be used to upgrade the huts of all of the different people, including your own. This will at first unlock more skills and abilities, but later on will just give massive amounts of XP and make the areas of your village look a little bit more cool, because everyone loves that customizability of the Wenja village. And that's one of my favorite things as well, is the fact that we can upgrade all of our weapons, all of the huts, and everything really that the whole game is based around, you can change with your crafting abilities. Now, if we go one tab over to the right, we can see our skill trees, and all of these different kinds of skills are going to be unlocked once again by finding all of the other Wenja throughout the land of Oros. Each tree, each individual person has a different kind of theme to their skills, and some of these skills will cost 1 skill point, some will cost 2, some will cost 3. You do have levels in this game, and you earn XP from doing just about everything. Also, the more Wenja you have, the more XP gain bonus you can gain throughout the game, so it's important to have as many Wenja as you can for that region as well. However, many of these skills are very, very vital to how you play the game. Some of them will make things that were completely impossible previously completely possible. And really, they're very, very important as to how you want to play the game your way. You can really base yourself around stealth, you can base yourself around combat, around fire, around healing, being kind of a sneaky hunter, and different things like that. So this really allows you to customize how you want to play the game based on your playstyle and how you go about exploring the land of Oros. You can also find many different kinds of collectibles throughout the world. When you collect a lot of these, you will earn skill points. Sometimes it's just 1 or 2, but eventually it works your way up to having to find a lot more. But these are in caves, these are in large bodies of water, and these are really all over the world. All of these things, though, are going to give you XP and allow you to get skill points in order to improve the way you play. Now, my favorite new aspect of Far Cry Primal is the fact that we are the Beastmaster, and we are labeled as very early in the game as this guy who can kind of tame and control all these different animals throughout Oros. Now, very, very early on in the game, we will unlock an owl. This will allow us to see all over the world. It'll allow us to scout, tag enemies, and eventually even attack them with bombs that we drop from the sky. This is a very cool mechanic, but it introduces us to the primary mechanic of beast taming, and this is the fact that we can tame almost any creature we find throughout the land of Oros. Here you can see I'm taming a white wolf. This is the very first tame you get in the game, and basically all we need to do is use this bait in the weapon wheel, throw it, and then after that we can tame the animal just based on holding X. There are all different kinds of creatures throughout the land. I believe there's 15 different, as well as 3 extremely rare special pets that you can tame that will do a lot more damage or have other special abilities. You can also press right on the D-pad to see all the different kinds of creatures you have tamed, all their special abilities, their stats, and things like that. But they all come in very, very handy. You can sick them on people to attack them. You can ride some of them if you unlock those specific skills. And it's always good to have them out because they're going to be very, very helpful, keep you from dying, and they all do a lot of damage and are very fearful to anyone you're going to run into throughout the land of Oros. So this taming is a really cool new concept in Far Cry. I really enjoy it. I kind of think it might be a little bit too easy, especially on some of the more difficult, larger animals. As you can see here, I tamed a saber-toothed tiger in about 0.5 seconds, and it isn't any more difficult than taming a mouse. So here I'm just showing off a little of the riding abilities. You can ride both the bear, the saber-toothed tiger, and a couple of the rarer tameable beasts, but they are very, very quick. They let you get around a lot faster. Unfortunately, the attacks from the different beasts are very, very weak if you just click right stick or right trigger, so it's just almost better to just shoot your bow or throw spears off at the animals as opposed to using their attacks. However, all still very cool. Now, the final thing I want to touch on in Far Cry Primal is the sense of exploration that we have as soon as we enter the game. Now, this whole game is really designed around the fact that they want us to explore, they want us to find all these things on our own, which is why I've tried to show as little to none as possible of a lot of the different things you can find throughout Oros. There is so much to do, so much to explore, caves to see, different enemies to defeat, and many, many different things like that. So I highly suggest you get out there, run around on foot, explore the land of Oros, and find everything that it has to offer, because that's really what this game is about. And in turn, you're going to be able to create things, you're going to be able to find more Wenja, grow your village, and eventually finish the game. Again, I want to thank you all for watching. This has been Furgie from A Squad Gaming. We will continue our coverage on Far Cry Primal as much as we can as more DLCs come out, as we progress through the game even more, covering some of the more difficult things. And really, that's all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope this video helps you out when you're exploring the land of Oros, and we will see you all next time back at A Squad Gaming.